Hey guys, welcome along to round 5 of the GT4 Rumble. Tonight we're at Imola in the heart of Italy. This is a tough little track which is going to catch quite a few people out tonight with off tracks and slowdowns. We've also got a bit of an interesting concept tonight with a couple of pit stops for people to undertake it over the two 16-lap races. And one of those races they'll also need to take on 4 tyres, but the choice of when they take on the tyres is completely up to them. So I think we should see some scrambled results tonight. Tonight I'm going to be joined in the broadcast by one of our Rumble legends in Brenton Hobson, who's standing by in the green room. So I'm just going to bring Hobbo in to the broadcast now. Hobbo, how are you? Oh, Hobbo's not there yet.
I'm good. Have you got me?
I've got you.
I'm here.
Oh, he's here. Hobbo is here.
I am. Well, I'm not in the session yet, but I am here.
Okay. Good, mate. Yourself?
Nothing like a last-minute run around to get organised. No, I'm good. It's been a while.
It has. We've got about 4 minutes of practice left at the moment. Just Hobbo get himself organised. We're just checking out some times, and it would appear that Jack Boyd, as Jack Boyd does, is currently at the top of the table.
Surprise, surprise, hey?
Yeah, I'm not sure that he's going to have it all his own way tonight, though. There's quite a few boys that might bring it up to young Jack tonight. Trent Laves has had a good couple of weeks, so he'll no doubt be looking to put a bit of pressure on Jack tonight.
I'm no stranger to Trent. He's actually quite a good little driver. I've had the pleasure of racing against him plenty of times in the past, and yes, he certainly would be someone I think that's more than capable of taking up to Jack on his night.
Just having a look to see how many we've actually got on track tonight, and it looks like we've got about 45 cars. Wow.
Yeah, it's no small grid. And it'll be pretty busy around this track too. There's a few spots that, particularly on the first lap of the race, we'll see them all bunch up nicely and hopefully not run into each other too much. But with the length of the races, I don't know that we'll see traffic be too much of a problem as far as lap traffic is concerned. But time will tell. I could be proven wrong by that just yet.
Well, the interesting thing that sort of goes against that theory a little bit is the fact that they have to pit for fuel. They've got starting fuel, but it won't be enough to do 16 laps. But the fuel is open, so when they pit, can take on as much fuel as they need for the remainder of the race. But in one of the 2 races, they also have to take on 4 tyres.
Yes, that's certainly an interesting little addition that you've thrown in this week, and in some ways I'm quite glad I'm sitting here in the commentary box and not having to think my way through that, because that's certainly going to cause quite a bit of a change up and down the order, I think, depending on what race people decide to take that stop, because 4-tyre stop in these cars is not particularly fast. It will certainly make a big difference if you were to make that race, say in race 1, whereas a bunch of other cars didn't. So it's a good opportunity for a few people to find themselves up and down the field. Maybe see a different race winner for a change this week in one of the races, which would be really nice.
Yeah, we actually had a completely different podium last week in Group A, which was a real surprise, a bit of a pleasant surprise. Jeff Connell, who happens to be on screen at the moment, grabbed the win last week at Daytona.
That's another person that I am familiar with. I've raced against Jeff a little bit in the past as well, and he is also no slouch. Very, very capable driver. I remember having a very, very, very good championship series against him one time in GT3 cars, which Yes, that's right. I drove in GT3 cars once upon a time. He was competitive in those, and I'm not surprised to see him up and mixing it amongst the front guys as well. So uh, I think it's as wide open as it's been for a long time, Greg. Like we've seen in the Mazdas when we race in those, that lots of these guys are very capable, but I think there's a few new names here and a different car this season. So the results are about as wide open as they've been, as far as I can remember.
I mean, there's a lot of new faces, new to me. As you said, you've probably come across some of the guys at the top end of the grid from time to time. But even in the lower classes, we've got a couple of guys that have come in and really surprised, I suppose, in the GT4s, which has been really good. The classes have been uh, really close, I suppose. Um, Considering this is our first season in GT4s, we're sort of learning as we go. But yeah.
Yeah. I think it hasn't taken too long for everyone to find their feet, though. Really, I haven't quite had the pleasure of being here every week, as you know, but the couple of times I have been here in the GT4s, it's I mean, the racing's been really, really good. It's been fairly clean from what I can tell, and very, very competitive. And I mean, yeah, you get the usual suspects up near the front, but it looks like all down the field, everyone's behaved themselves and finding their feet pretty quickly in these cars.
So the boys are just doing their qualifying now. We've got some new cameras set up tonight, which I'm really, really pleased with. We're just watching Moroz do a lap in the BMW. This is actually his out lap, but so we've managed to set up a group of cameras around the whole track with some different outlooks. There's a couple of curb cams thrown in there, so I'm really excited.
I'm very, very impressed by the dedication there, Greg. That's very good.
When you retire, Hobbo, you seem to have a lot of spare time.
Funny how that happens. I don't believe it for a second. But between your excellent work with all the broadcast stuff and my excellent commentary, I'm sure that this is bound to be a good broadcast tonight.
I have no doubt that we will break all viewing records this week. That's the aim.
We can only hope. We can only hope. We can only hope that the racing on track is good too, though. And Imola, sorry, yeah, I was confused for a second, is one of my favorite tracks. I love this place, but the off tracks around here are very, very unforgiving, shall we say. They revised this track a few years ago now when they brought the F1 car to iRacing, and they've made the off tracks very, very, very harsh now. So you won't see guys taking anywhere near as much curb as what we would have seen here a few years ago. And as we know, the way this series works, the points are very, very harsh as well if you get a bit too greedy and take a few off tracks. This is one of those tracks that you could get multiple within a lap without really any trouble at all. And the way the championship points work, you just cannot afford to do that. So I'll be looking to see people probably taking it a bit easy to try and avoid that wherever they can. And if anyone can get away with some bonus points here for clean races, I'll be very, very impressed.
Well, as a bit of an added bonus for tonight, we've decided that as we jump on board with this is Glenn Boyd putting a lap in. We've decided tonight that if anybody can do 2 races with a 0x in each class, we're going to the highest place finisher with the 0x's will get a $20 iRacing voucher as a bonus.
Well, that's fair incentive, I think, for someone to try and do it. It will be a very difficult prospect around here. But I say all that, there's one person in particular who might or might not be on screen at the minute that is very, very good at staying out of trouble and managing to get through races without accumulating any incidents. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Coming to the line right now. Most of these guys are just finishing their first laps.
Jeff Connell currently goes to the top in Group A.
Yeah, good effort there, 50.8. It's a pretty good lap on the first lap too.
And looks like a lot of boys are getting laps in without the off tracks, which is good to see.
So Connell, Harrison, Muir, Boyd, the Glen variety, Mick Polly, first of the B drivers.
Yeah.
B5, so that's a good effort there too. sticking it right up there and amongst the A drivers.
Phil Paradiso at the moment leads our Group C boys.
So 53.4. So there is a bit of a pace gap there from the front back to this Group C guys, but at the moment he leads the way for them. There's a few more times coming in at the minute. So what have we got? About 26 of our 45 cars. So a little bit over half of them have got one lap in so far, which is pretty good.
Yeah, they've got 3 laps. So the smart play would probably be to do a banker lap, maybe first up, and then look at trying to improve on that over the next 2 as the tyres come in. But certainly you need a banker lap because you don't want to be starting at the back in this field tonight. Not on this track.
No, you certainly don't want to have to start at the back. With such a big field, you never want to have to work your way through, particularly like we talked about, trying to avoid incidents. It's hard enough to stay on the track, let alone not crash into people when you've got to do it from the back of the field. So Jack Boyd about to come back across to complete what would be his second lap. He didn't set a time on his first one, which is interesting.
Yeah.
We'll see what time he sets as he crosses the line and goes through the top, right on cue of 50.7.
Meanwhile, Lee Harrison is on a... he's set a purple sector.
He's just gone P5 at the moment. Connell's still holding on to P2, and now the A drivers are starting to move their way to the top of the leaderboard. Still Mick Polly in P8 now leads the way for the B class drivers. And as it stands, looking right down the order, I can't even see the first C class driver.
So Matt Tesserero has now jumped
Yes.
to the top.
And straight to the pits as well.
Yeah, so job done. Andrew Roberts currently sits second.
That's a good lap as well right there. Move himself up to P2 and C class.
That's a great lap. In the McLaren. You can tell just by the noise.
Yes.
So there we go. We can have a look now at the. I've shared my screen, Hobbo. I don't know if you can see it, but
yeah, I've just brought it up and had a look. It's all very pixelated though, so I can't make out any of the names
okay.
or anything like that. So
I have got good internet tonight though.
well, that's probably good for everyone watching at home.
It is. So Group A at the moment, which is Jack Boyd, he's done a 150.798. In Group B, it's Michael Polly with a 151.424. And in Group C, Matt Tesserera has done a 153.165 as it stands. So there's quite a bit of gap. Jack, meanwhile, has just gone quicker again.
Well, right as Henry jumped up to P2, Jack goes all the way to the top.
And
Jeff Connell
takes it straight back again.
Just right back up into P2 behind Jack. So hardly any gap there at all. Less than, half a tenth of a second. So really, really close at the front. Very, very close. There's a few more people come through. So Trent Laves just went to P6 there as he crossed the line.
It's Sam Muir that we're watching at the moment. Sam's currently in 4th. Makes his way up the hill.
I'm not sure if he's still got another lap yet to set or if he's already finished on an in lap now. I can't quite tell, but
no,
there isn't too many cars left on track. It's only a handful still at the front that are on track, and a lot of the guys down near the back still setting their final lap.
See if we can. This is Adam St. John. Looks like he's still. Adam's currently down in 41st, but in class is 11th. No, it looks like Adam's finished. Ash Stacey's just about to cross the line. Doesn't look like Ash improved. Sam Muir actually went purple in that first sector, so if that was a cool down lap, perhaps he was just looking for ways to find a bit more time in the first sector.
We may have found as well that the tyres came to him as he went. Possibly, I'm not quite sure that the fourth lap would be the push lap on a GT4 tyre, but maybe he sort of found that to be the best lap for him. It's obviously a good first sector, so that is largely the first microsector, largely straight line speed to
Yeah.
the end of the main straight.
So it's all about
obviously
getting
got good straight line speed in that car.
all about getting out of that final turn onto the straight.
You have to forgive me as well tonight because I can't quite make out the names on your broadcast here in the Discord, but that means I'm stuck with all first initials and last names for my timing tonight. So
okay.
it'll be all down to memory, which is never a good thing for me.
I was nearly going to. I wasn't quite sure, but I think there is a way that I can actually share the whole screen. Boys are just getting ready, so we might have a look at the grid. So it's Jack Boyd off of pole, Jeff Connell out of 2, Henry Fenson, Sam Muir, Neville Mell, Trent Laves, Lee Harrison, Moz Moroz, Dan Bartouche out of 9, the first of our Group B boys, then Wayne Losh, Michael Polly, Glenn Boyd, then Rod Urbina, Keith Logan, Dean Logsdale, Damien Seeger, Darren Linus, Anthony Connors, Jason Locke, Matt Petrazak, Benjamin Singer, Kyle Ridley, Jesse Carrick, David Milne. Then we've got Lam Newgan, Roy Rigg, Scott Baker, Ray Harrison, Quan Dang, Matt Keane. Quan is actually the first of our Group C runners coming out of 29th. Then we've got Matt Keane, Matt Tesserero in 31st, Aaron Maguire, Andrew Roberts, Phil Paradiso, Matt Icarius, Shannon Curry, as we go over the page. Then we've got Mick Nancaro, Ash Stacey, Graham Ellis, John Thorne, Dave Gogol, Adam St. John, PJ Whiteman, Glenn Hill, and Chris Bleakley starting off the back. I don't think Chris managed to set a time.
No, it doesn't look like he did. So as the pace car pulls away, get ready.
It's
straight down to a braking zone and a chicane. What could possibly go wrong?
This is going to be one epic start, I have a feeling.
Boyd and Connell on the front row.
Yep.
We'll keep a close eye on it and keep an eye on the back of the pack as well to see whether or not everyone survives here on the start. But here they go. Pace car peels off to the lane.
So holding 80.
Fingers crossed.
Until the lights go green. So far, so good.
Waiting. It's such a nervous moment, isn't it?
The start line is actually further around than the finish line. It's gone green now. It looks like
there would have been a few nervous people.
Jack's got the jump off the start. Wow.
It didn't last long. We've got a few in the fence in the background.
Oh yeah, we've got
entry before we even got to the first corner. Looks like Keane and Roberts were involved in that one.
Yeah, we've got
maybe Graham Ellis as well, although he might have just checked up to avoid it. Quite a few slow at the first chicane, but
might go back
they all
and
sorted themselves out.
Let's go back and have a look and see if we can see what happened at the start. So there's Graham.
I feel like he just stopped to avoid it.
Yeah.
And he might have just about only made a little bit of contact there.
Yeah.
It happened in front of him.
So it looks like it was Andrew Roberts that was involved in that somehow.
Roberts and Keane looked like they were already having an accident when everyone else arrived on the scene. But
there'll be a few boys making an early pit stop. But
quite likely, I would suggest. But Jack Boyd leads the way up at the front. Jeff Connell in P2 behind him. And they've got a very small gap back to Muir, Mel, and then Trent Laves in P5 for the time being. Mostly looks like that they've kept themselves out of trouble at the start.
As I said, this is all going to change dramatically once they work out when they're going to do their pit stops.
Dan Bartush is the Group B leader at the moment, so he's done a nice job to get away off the start.
So there's Dan at the moment. He's
Loshy in the pits in lap 1.
Yeah, a few boys are getting out of the traffic.
Tesorero's come in as well. He was right up the field, so he might have been in an accident and had to throw back to the pits. I didn't see that. My timing might have been playing some tricks on me.
My incident screen has gone absolutely ballistic, so yeah, trying to keep up with this tonight is going to be fun. So Dan's currently found himself on the back of some of the Group A drivers, so if he can sort of stay there, he might be able to stay out of trouble. Meanwhile, it looks like Glenn Boyd and Rod Urbina are squabbling a little bit over. Looks like Boydie's managed to grab that spot.
I'm watching with interest at the moment. P6, sorry, what are we? P5, 6, and 7. Fenton, Laves, and Harrison. They're all back nose to tail and looking like a bit of a battle. In fact, if anything at the front, I'd say that Henry's got some damage on the front of his Mercedes, and hopefully that's not causing him to be a little bit slow, because there is a bit of a gap forming between him and Neville Mal in P4. So keep an eye on that at the minute, because it looks like these three behind are getting ready to battle.
So there's Henry on screen now. His car looks reasonably straight, so, and he's not going to pit this time, although a few guys have peeled off. Neville Mel's peeled off in front of him.
So is Moz Moroz. So a couple of people maybe opting for this strategy. It'll be really interesting to see what happens here as far as tyres go, whether or not they decide to get in and get tyres on the car straight away, make that decision early. Because you really need to make that decision. You don't want to pit twice, so...
Oh, Trent was trying to get through on Henry there, and that slowed him down, which has got Lee all over the back of. Jump on board with Lee as he scrambles all over. Back of the two guys in front.
A little bit further back from here, Keith Logan just put on a great move. Past Urbina, which is a Class B car making a move on a Class A car there. And Seeger's sitting back watching brief on all that happening in front of him.
So this is so Keith is currently in front of Rod Urbina. He's got a trail of, I think it's going to be a little bit mixed up tonight, Hubba, with all these pit stops and stuff. It's really hard to keep on top of. I might try and...
One that I will point out that I'm a little bit worried about at the minute is Mos Moroz still in the pit lane, just coming out the exit now, perhaps. And he had a 1 minute and 19 second pit stop relative to everyone else who's been around about the 30 to 40 second range. So that's an extra long stop, potentially a speeding penalty on the pit entry or clearing a black flag of some sort. So that's dropped him way, way down now as he's out of the lane again now. He'll go pretty much a lap down.
So I wonder, yeah, that would be maybe a pit lane speeding.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it, yeah, I can't imagine what else it would be. He's gone horribly wrong either way. And that's dropped him right down out of contention there. watching some of the lead cars working their way through. Andrew Roberts way off the pace, a lap down, so just trying to stay out of the way there on the side of screen.
Yeah, he's moved aside. Meanwhile, back up front, it's still Jeff Connell is still hot on his tail.
Yeah, I don't think Jack will get it all quite his own way. It's going to come down to the strategy here. I mean, if you are in Jeff's position right here, I don't know whether or not you just sort of shadow him for the race, stay there at the front and see if he pits, and then maybe consider the ultimate strategy to Jack to guarantee yourself a good chance at a race win. Or, I don't know, do you follow him and try and beat him on the track? Both in Mercedes, there's no real benefit there in regards to pit stop transit and fuel drop, that sort of stuff. So if you're going to get the job done against him in the same car, you've got to pass him the hard way.
I can. I'm just looking at the strategies, and I can tell you now that Neville Mell, Lee Harrison, and Loshi have all taken tyres in this race. Kyle Ridley, on the other hand, didn't take tyres. And when we look for Moroz, it's not telling us that he actually. Oh yeah, so a 150.2, so that's a 40-second time penalty.
Yeah, that would make sense. I'd say that he's gone a little bit too eager on the pit entry.
Yep.
My guess there, and that's a pretty costly penalty. 40 seconds. That's take you way out of the chance of the racing at the front here in this race, and probably again for the next one.
We've got another crasher too. This is Matt Tesserero, who was right up there in Group C class. So I don't know what's happened to Matt. Oh.
Very easy mistake to make that one.
Yeah.
And I think luckily he's probably going to be able to drive away from that and keep going, but that's an easy mistake to make down there at Aqua Minerale. It's just a difficult corner. The car's fully loaded on the left-hand side tyres as you take the right-hand kick, and then you've got to get on the brakes and slow down for the second right-hander, and it's pretty easy to unsettle the car, touch the grass or anything like that there, and it's all over Good Rover, and pretty much self-spin right there, but no harm, no foul. Managed to keep going. Didn't really involve anyone else, so that's lucky. This race is still on at the front.
It is. It's
Jeff is absolutely stalking the back of Jack, and certainly not in any hurry to let it go. Neither of them pit this time by as they continue along. And Sam Muir is also doing a great job in P3, hanging on to the back of these guys, all separated by less than a second still, 6 laps into this race. So doing a great job. So it looks like so far we've already seen just about half, 21 cars now by my numbers already have served a pit stop. So half the field more or less has already come down in this first race and committed to making a stop. So interesting to see how the strategies play out. We are only early on in the piece, still over 10 laps to go in this race. So looks like the race 1 pit stop is the preferred strategy. What ends up happening where it's interesting is if you are a Jack Boyd or someone like that at the front of the field, you need to make a decision on the fly, because if you stay out and don't pit in this race, but 35 cars or something like that do pit, in the next race you've got to come back and pass all of them on the track. So at some point you really need to decide that it's worth taking the pit stop in this first race and maybe finishing 10th, but then take a 10th and a really good shot at a win in the second race, which would be better on your points across the two than taking a win here in race number 1, but then possibly finishing, like 25th or 30th in the second race and having to come through traffic. So we'll see what happens with these guys at the front. So much interesting strategy to play out yet.
I think when I was putting this strategy together, I was sort of running through all the different scenarios that could potentially take place, and if luck is on your side and you're a Group A racer and you decide to take tyres in the first race, but a lot of the Group B, Group C boys don't, then you potentially will have a better race too, providing the boys in Group B and Group C get their pit stops done in good time. It's always that risk, as we saw with Moz. If you don't get your pit stop right, you come back out in traffic, then
Yeah,
everything
traffic's
changes.
going to kill you in this strategy format where you come out in traffic and around, the back of the pack, and you're in all sorts of trouble. As we see, Jack Boyd and Sam Muir in the pits this time, same too with Trent Laves and So Jeff Connell keeps on keeping on, stays out at the front. Paul Myers low at the minute with Mick Polly, Class B leader, P2 outright on the track right now. Only 2.5 seconds, 10 seconds back from the lead by the look of it.
So Jeff Connell is flashing the headlights at Moz. There's a bit of a memo, Jeff. Moz.
Yeah, that's not going to work too well on Moz.
If I was Moz, I would be saying, look, my brake lights flash as well.
Yes. I can understand his frustration here, though. He's got cars that have come down and pitted, so they are genuinely going a lap down to him at the moment. So he's in his right to try and want to make his way through, but these guys are also on a race of their own, so he's going to have to show some real patience here.
Yeah.
Depends if he decides to pit. We talked about having all these cars, either coming in or not coming in, but you also have to remember that you're only racing against people in your class too. So at the moment, there's a bit of a mixture, but looks like only about 3 or 4 Class A cars that are yet to pit. So almost the entire Class A field has made a pit stop in this race. So this is what I talked about previously, where if Jeff stays out and goes to the end, he'll get the win here in race number 1, but he'll have to take a much longer pit stop than everybody else in race number 2, and that's going to sacrifice, his result there. So outright points overall across the 2 races, you might actually be better off to come down here and take a stop. But we'll see how it plays out.
Just looking at the at the pit times now. So Jack Boyd has pitted. I think Jack has done his tyres. Looking at his pit time,
36-second pit stop looks pretty right for me. Around about for anyone that's doing full tyres, and that's about the number that you see pretty predominantly throughout the field. 35 to 38-second stops.
Yep.
Will be a full tyre stop in my eyes. But if you go to anyone that's gone shorter than that, and I think you'll probably find that they haven't taken tyres. So there's a whole heap of cars just come down the pit lane here on this lap around. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 cars down in the lane, which means we're going to be down to only about 7 or 8 cars that have not pitted in this race.
Yep, they're all come charging out of the pits now.
Yeah, the freight train, or the very slow-moving conveyor belt, if you like, down the pit lane, trundling at what seems like walking pace. There's nothing more frustrating, and that's another thing too we didn't touch on, but this track has one of the longest and slowest pit lane transits on the calendar.
Yes.
It's deceptively long and very, very slow when you're going at pit lane speed. So huge time loss here for coming down and passing through the lane.
One of this is Ben Singer, who currently finds himself 3rd overall at the moment and leading Class B. Hasn't pitted. We'll probably, I think you can get around 10 laps of fuel out of what was in the tank. But just looking at the pit times, it would seem that Sam Muir is sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, I agree. He's probably taking just the fuel needed to get home, and is planning to do his 4-tyre stop in race number 2. So he's opted for track position here as Jeff Connell comes down the lane. Now this will be interesting to see whether or not he has that 35-odd second pit stop, or if it's closer to the 20 seconds, which is just going to be for fuel only. So it depends, is he racing for track position or outright points is my question, and we will soon find out. It's already been in the lane for about 10 seconds stationary, so not long now until we know for sure.
And Sam, in the meantime, is making his way onto the pit straight now.
And we are seeing all the rest of the cars that have not yet completed stops down the lane. So that's pretty much the field cycle. The only one I can see that maybe hasn't is Kai Ridley.
So
and I'm not sure why he's so far back in the field. But...
So the boys are now making their way out onto the track. And Sam's gone through, so...
Yeah. Jeff's going to be coming out pretty close to one Jack Boyd.
Wow, so
he hasn't... He's transited the lane.
He's lost a second though in that pit stop. He's lost a second to Jack. So, whoa, Jack. Oh, that's Jeff. Oh, that was, yes, that was. We just caught the tail end of that, but it looks like Jeff was in a bit of a hurry and he may have just given Dan a bit of a push sideways there to get through. But Jack's definitely on his tail. So
So this is the race for the cars that have taken their 4 tyre stops outright.
Yes.
Leaders versus taking their 4 tyre stops. Jeff Connell did get the jump on Jack Boyd. Pit stop time, quite interestingly, if you look at it, for Jack was a little bit quicker, 36.7 second stop and a 1 minute and 3 second transit time, whereas Jeff had a 37.8 second stop, so just over a second longer.
Yeah.
And a nearly 2 second slower pit lane transit, yet came out in front. So that's an overcut right there, and he's made it work. So very interesting that he's managed to gap Jack there, but these two are now going to fight it out on track, and they have got other cars around them.
They have. They've got a couple of Group B boys directly in front, so this will be interesting. Hopefully...
And Darren Linus moves over out of the way there to let Jeff through. We'll see if he gives the same treatment to Jack. Not yet. Probably down the main straight.
I know. Looks like Jack was keen to get that done as quickly as he could.
He won't want to be losing any time that he can, because disaster here. I think Jeff's got the pace. He was very quick in that first stint. We saw him hang on absolutely no problems, and then has obviously dropped a fast lap time in to overcut Jack. In fact, if you're looking at the lap times, Jeff has got the fastest lap of the race, a 150.5 compared to Jack's 51 flat, so half a second quicker on the fastest lap so far in this race. So Jack will not want to let Jeff get away, because if he does, that might be the last he sees of it. He might get the Jack Boyd treatment to himself if he's not careful in that regard. So we'll see how that plays out. But of course, these guys are only P6 and 7 on the track outright. Sam Muir leads the way. His shorter pit stop. He's got a nice gap in front to Glenn Boyd.
So it looks like we've got a similar story. That's Dean Logsdale that's just moved. Oh no, I thought he'd moved out the way.
I thought he moved over too. He wasn't having it. No thanks.
No, he says, you got to go the long way, Jack.
So I don't know that Jack will be all that thrilled about that. That's certainly going to give Jeff a bit of an opportunity here on this lap to make a difference. Oh my goodness. All happening.
It
Very
is.
scary. Remember guys, you're not in the same class. You don't need to race each other that hard.
No, the problem that Dean has got, I mean, it's his teammate Darren that's directly behind him, but of course they've then got Dan in the Porsche, Dan Bartouche, who's also looking to grab a few spots. So as I've always said to the boys, it's class racing, but at the same time, don't give up spots unnecessarily just because you've got a faster car. So it's up to the Group A boys to get these passes done without creating havoc. Which
it's also very true. Difficult thing to do at times, but you are right. The Class A guys are expected to make the moves cleanly and get the job done without causing too much drama.
I think, I mean, we know Jack well enough to know that he's more than capable of getting that done. So, but that might have been a little bit of a heart in the mouth situation for even Jack.
Dean doesn't want to roll over and let him by though as well, because I know you said it's his teammate behind who's currently under huge pressure. Darren Lyon is currently under massive pressure. But he doesn't want to let him get too close. The one person you want to beat in any form of racing is your teammate. Don't forget. So
exactly.
Can't have your teammate beating you and getting back right. So as he is on here at the minute, position 7 on track.
We're just
position 8 on track. It would be.
So that's Dean, and then Darren is coming under immense pressure from Dan, who's now got. Oh no, that's Trent Mays.
That's Trent Mays. Working his way forwards.
So
he's another guy who won't feel like waiting. So
no, and he's done tyres as well, so he will definitely be.
Class A. So he'll be in a hurry. He won't think that those guys in front should be able to pull away from him too quickly. So he'll be keen to make a few moves here. Of course, he's got Neville Malrock behind him as well. So there is this really interesting complexity to the race at the moment, where we've got Class A and Class B drivers racing around each other in their own separate battles. So,
of course,
interesting times as Neville goes for a nice move down the inside, and the real loser there is Dan, who dropped quite a few seconds to the Class B guys that he was racing against, and Darren and Dean.
And unfortunately, this looks like Glenn Hill. Oh no! I think Glenn was trying to get out of the way, and he's moved across, and wow,
Yeah, I'm not
yeah.
sure. I feel like he just didn't expect that one to come down the right-hand side there. I think Darren saw a gap and thought that he might have been able to go for it, but it diminished very quickly and contacted an awkward spot.
I was going to go back and have a quick look. Yeah, so Darren's yeah, it's probably the wrong side of the track for Darren to be making that move. I mean, in fairness to Glenn, he was over to the right, so Darren's probably made a split-second decision to go for it, and unfortunately, yeah, it hasn't paid off, and he's limping back to the pits now to get the damage repaired.
Such a shame, because those guys were very running very competitively there at that stage of the race, and yeah, they got all the work to do here in the next race to try and make up some of that lost time. But it's unfortunate. We'll see how that one plays out with the stewards later on. But I'm glad that's not my problem.
You're welcome to join me anytime, Hobo.
I'm quite happy putting on my commentary headset and then leaving when I'm finished.
If only I could do the same. So meanwhile, this is Sam out in the front. He's got a healthy lead now over Glenn Boyd, who's currently in second. They've sort of got out of the rat race.
Well, the pace of Jack and Jeff is quite impressive, really. They're not that far away from catching up to the back of Glenn. Like, only a matter of, it's like, trying to get my gaps and margins right, but maybe about 8.
Yeah, about 8 seconds. Just under 8 seconds.
Pretty impressive considering their pit stops were something like 20 seconds slower. So they've made some good pace up, good ground up on the track just with pace. But it looks at this stage, unless something goes wrong with Sam and Glenn, will probably hold on here for P1 and 2 in Class A. Of course, they will have to take a 4-tyre stop in the next race, which is going to be their problem.
Yes.
They're going to sacrifice a lot of time in that next race to make that stop. So they might get good points here in race 1, but interesting to see what they can hang on for in race number 2. They clearly got good speed. We saw Sam running right at the front early on and was hanging with those 2 guys at the lead. But somewhere along the line, he's lost a little bit of time to those guys. His last lap time was a 151.6 for reference, whereas Jeff Connell almost set the fastest lap of the race last time around with a 150.5. So that's over a second quicker on the last lap. So Jeff and Jack are letting out the stops, so to speak, at the minute, and those 2 are very much the fastest on track, with the exception of Trent Laves, wasn't far away on that last lap. And
would that be down to would that be down to tyres that Jack and Jeff have now found that extra speed?
Well, possibly. They pitted they pit 4, 5, 6 laps ago, something like that. So their tyres are still in good shape at the moment, whereas we know that Sam and Glenn at the front there, they're now 13 laps into the run. Probably depends, and I mean, I don't have that much GT4 experience, but in my experience, the tyres don't really go away. So I would say you can probably hold on to your pace fairly well throughout a 16-lap race without changing tyres. But I mean, of course, I'm more than welcome to be corrected if anyone knows better than I do.
So I'm just having a quick look down through the Group B field, and Ant Connors, who's currently 7th in Group B, is the first of the cars that did tyres.
Yep, did the 4 tyres. That looks right to me. Yep.
And then when we go down to Group C, it's actually Quan Dang that did tyres. He's currently 3rd in Group C, which is a pretty good effort.
It is a great effort, actually. It's a great drive. Looks to me like, yeah, the 2 guys in front of him certainly had shorter pit stops than he did. So he's set to be in a really good position in the next race to take the win. So that'll be a 3-1 for him if that was to happen. So that's a really impressive run. And, I mean, his pace is really good. He's actually not far away. Where is he on track here? He's not far away from the cars in front of him anyway. So his pace has been very good.
Aaron Maguire, who we're looking at now, has got a 12-second, just under 12-second gap. He's got quite a few Group B boys around him at the moment, so he's sort of having to let as many through as he can.
It's always an awkward thing, isn't it? But he's doing the right thing here because he doesn't need to worry about beating these guys. He's only racing in class, so he's got quite a big gap. He's 12 seconds is the that in P2 in class, so he's got a little bit of time to play with. He doesn't need to do anything silly here, particularly not forgetting that incident points are your worst enemy around here, so keep it clean and stay well within the lines. And don't need to take any risks, but the next race around is going to be a whole different story for these guys, so they're going to have to push hard in the next race and make up time.
Meanwhile, back up at the front, we've still got
Jeff
Sam
Connell pulling a gap. He's
Oh.
flying, and he's just done the fastest lap of the race on the last lap in that he did a 150.3. However, it didn't register as the fastest lap, which tells me he got an off track. So it doesn't look to me like there's a clean race happening this time around for Jeff. So that's going to rule him out of a chance at picking up the bonus prize for tonight. But you never know how trustworthy the timing can be. My timing is telling me that 1J Boyd at the moment, no off track. So we'll see if that's true or not. But at the moment, Jeff is on a mission. He is flying at the second and storming up the road, going very quick indeed.
He's certainly taking no prisoners, that's for sure.
Probably should be a little bit careful again. I think this is about like your race smarts and understanding where the situation is, because he's got quite a gap to get up to Glenn. There are only 1.5 laps remaining, and I don't see him making up a deficit of around about 5 seconds, even more perhaps. Depending on so he's taking a lot of risks and taking off tracks here where he probably doesn't need to. You know how much they hurt you in the championship if you accumulate enough. So either way, he's demonstrating his pace and definitely putting everyone else on notice, because he's by far and away the fastest car on the track.
Oh, wow. Looks like we've had a big one back here. It's come up twice. So this is Anthony Connors and Jason Locke. Oh,
ooh,
and that's Henry Fenson.
Yep.
Oh, that is a big one. So yeah, it looks like.
Unfortunately, nose-to-tail contact never looks good in the eyes of the steward.
No.
So there might be some
This is
trouble coming that way, but yes.
This is Keith Logan as well, and Jeff! Wow! That was Andrew Roberts,
right in front of the leaders.
Keith Logan, Jeff Connell. That wow.
Nothing like a bit of drama there.
So
got a lap to go.
We've got the white flag, and meanwhile I've just had a text from the race stewards for this week, and they're all going on holidays. Nobody wants to adjudicate this week.
We're never going to see the split tyre stop strategy format ever again.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm a bit like you. Sitting in the broadcast studio, I'm more than happy to throw up as many curveballs as I can. But I certainly would.
Interesting to watch.
I wouldn't want to be out there racing.
No, I tend to agree. So on that last lap, Jack with we saw him get held up there with the spin in front of him, the 52.8. So I think he's buttoned off and not pressing too hard. Fastest car on the track last time around was Lee Harrison. He's been really quick, just marred back a little bit in track position. So
yep.
You're looking for him to try and get a better result here in race number 2. He's another one of those drivers who took his 4 tyres. So he'd be sort of outright looking at a P4 or 5 thereabouts on track. So
yeah,
I think he'll be keen to try and work his way forwards in the next one, as Jeff rounds the chicane at the top of the hill, getting ready to finish this race off. Sam, at the minute,
should be
off the final corner, and it's been a great drive.
It has. Stayed out of trouble.
Played the strategy, got himself the track position, and picks up a big old W. Flashes the lights. Not a bad start. He'll have it all to do in race number 2, but gets the checkered flag first here in race number 1. Glenn Boyd's going to pick up P number 2. Another great drive for Glenn, Mr. Consistent. Jeff Connell all the way to P3 on track with the extra long pit stop. Great drive.
Looks like
Mick
Polly, yeah.
For Class B. He'll be 4th on the road. Jack Boyd, Trent Laves, Neville Mel, Liam Harrison.
Loshi was a good drive. Pitted early. Obviously stayed out of trouble.
He's going to be P14 on the track. I'm not sure where that puts him in class because I don't have that in front of me.
P8.
That's pretty good.
P8 in class. So, of course, the one thing that we sort of, well, I say we, but it's probably all down to me. The one thing I didn't sort of allow for is the grid's going to be a little bit mixed up for race 2.
Yes, I had thought about this actually and wondered about the method in the madness, because you're right. If you are one of these guys who's a little further up the field, like you've got Aaron Maguire, who leads Class C, he's going to be starting at P20 on the grid, which is a long way up for a Class C driver.
It is.
Hopefully, everyone behaves themselves and understands who they're driving around here at the start, and they settle themselves out quickly. We've got someone backwards on the entry.
Yeah, I don't know who that was. I'm not
Can't
sure.
say for sure. Quite sure who that was. Might have been John Thorne.
I was just about to say, I reckon, I'm going to go back. So this is John. Oh, yeah, yep.
Yeah, and he's got the wall down there on the inside too, so that's a shame. The new damage model looking good.
Whoa!
Not probably so good if you're John Thorne at the minute, but for everyone else, the damage model's looking very nice there.
I was going to say, you probably would be a little bit nervous if you were coming around to finish your race and there's a car sideways across the track, but they managed to get through.
Yeah, I didn't quite pick up who that was. That car was down in the dirt trying to avoid cars. Probably thought, yeah, we've finished the race off the final corner down to the checkered flag, and then that happened.
Well, as the boys just go through a quick warm-up, got a couple of minutes. I might take a quick break and grab a drink. You want to do likewise, Hobbo?
I think I will. I need it after that. It was very exciting, and we'll recharge and come back here for race number 2 in just a minute.
We'll be back very shortly. Welcome back, guys. It's just under a minute left of the warm-up session. Might have a quick look and see some of the results from race 1. I'm not sure if Hobbo's back. Are you back yet, Hobbo?
I'm right here, ready to go.
He is. So let's. So race 1 in Group A was Sam Muir over Glenn Boyd, Jeff Connell, Jack Boyd, Trent Laves, Neville Mell, Lee Harrison, Wayne Losh, Damien Seeger, Matt Petroshak, Rod Urbina, Matt Keane, Henry Fenson, Moz Moroz, and Kyle Ridley home in 15th. We look at the Group B results. It's Michael Polly with the win, Dean Logsdale second, Dan Bartouche, Scott Baker, Benjamin Singer, Keith Logan, Lam Newgan, Chris Bleakley, Jesse Carrig. Oh, everything's going ballistic. Jason Locke, Roy Rigg, Anthony Connors, David Milne, Dave Gogol, Darren Linus, Ray Harrison. And a quick look at Group C. Aaron Maguire with the win over Matt Icarius, Quan Dang home in third, Graham Ellis, Phil Paradiso, Ash Stacey, Adam St. John, Shannon Curry, John Thorne, PJ Whiteman, Mick Nancaro, Matt Tesserero, Andrew Roberts, and Glenn Hill as the boys are getting ready to grid up for the next race. We can hear Damo in the background.
Telling them all how much fuel they need to put in. Race number 2 is going to be super interesting. I'm very, very trepidatious about the start here, Greg. We're going to find out how it all goes very, very soon.
So we'll just quickly run through the top 10. We got Sam Muir, Glenn Boyd, Jeff Connell, Michael Polly out of 4, the first of the Group B boys. Then it's Jack Boyd, Trent Laves, Neville Mell, Lee Harrison out of 8. Then we've got Dean Logsdale, Dan Bartouche, Scott Baker, Ben Singer, who are all Group B boys. And then over the page, we've got Keith Logan, Wayne Losh, Damo, Matt Petroshak, Rod Urbina, Lam Newgan, Chris Beakley, and out of 20th, as you said earlier, it's going to be Aaron Maguire.
Great effort, and we'll see how he goes here, right in the hornet's nest for the start of race number 2. As they round the final corner, and pace car gets ready to peel off to the pit lane. We're getting ready to send them loose again. And we know it's a long, long wait down until the green flag drops right past the pit, right past the start-finish line. The
field is still making their way through the final turn as the boys are heading towards the start line. So it's a massive field.
Fingers crossed they all get to the first chicane this time without any mischief, and we're about ready to go.
It's pretty even jump at the front there. Looks like Sam might have just got the edge over Glenn.
Yeah.
2x2 into the chicane. Oh, here we go. Here we go. There's a big one at the back.
He's amongst it. Couldn't pack up the other car. Bleakley was one of them for sure. It's Keane again. He was involved in that first shunt on the first race, I think, at turn 1 as well. So it's been a horrible night for him. Crashes before he even made the first corner, 2 races in a row. Meanwhile, Jeff Cole's thinking about making a move down at the hairpin here.
He wants to try and break away from young Jack.
Yeah, he wants to put a gap on him earlier, but ended up compromising himself right there. He's in a bit of a Boyd sandwich at the minute. You wouldn't know it, like we don't see them in the same cars. Yeah, a bit of a different look for Jack in the Mercedes this season, but he's in a bit of a sandwich there at the minute between the 2 Boyds.
Sam will be hoping that there's a bit of a scrap behind so he can get a bit of a breakaway. As you said, 4 tyres is going to cost him dearly this race, but if he can get a bit of a break, it may not be too bad.
Well, we saw Jeff and Jack go all the way back up to the top 3 just about for the end of race number 1 with the extra long pit stop, so we could see it happen again, but unfortunately the majority of the field here will be taking shorter stops, so we'll see how it plays out. looking back through the rest of the field, and it seems like everyone's played nice so far here on the rest of the first lap. No other dramas that I could see. As straight to the pit lane.
Glenn
Boyd.
Boyd.
I've hypothesised to myself about whether or not a lap 1 pit stop is the go here, but the problem is with his stop and transit time, he's going to be right, not far off the back of the field when he comes out of the pits, I think. It won't take him long, and he'll be right in amongst the traffic. So
yeah,
we'll see how it plays out.
He'll be hoping that a few of the Group B and C boys follow suit and pit as well.
Saw about a 25-second spread across the whole field, and we did see in the first race around about just under 20 seconds is about the time for just fuel only here in a shorter stop. So he'll come out full transit time of the pit lane behind perhaps, but it's a good move here further up the field. Who was that down the inside? That was Neville Mel. Making a nice pass on
Mick Polly, yep.
So not a in-class position change, but a good pass nonetheless. Sensible there and making sure that Lee Harrison, he's keen to make a move as well.
He is.
Right up the back.
Oh, Neville's run wide. That's compromised Mick, and that's given Lee a bit of incentive to go for the 2 for 1. Oh.
Just stuck with the 1, sensible there, but for a second I thought we were going to see 3 wide into the chicane.
Yeah.
Thankfully for everyone involved, except for us. But they're starting to spread out a little bit here at the front, though. There is now a pretty decent gap from Trent Laves back to Neville Mel with that little mistake, and you can't afford to let the gaps get too big. Laves hanging on to the back of Jack, who's got a small gap up to Jeff, and Sam Muir at the front doing a great job again. I think his best bet, if I was him, would be to run as long as I could. Get as much of the cars behind you in the pits before you come down, so you've got less traffic to contend with, and you've got clean air in the meantime to try and put in the best laps you can. However, he's got one little problem, and it's a very, very black-looking Mercedes. He's going to move down the inside here, Jeff. Let's him go again.
You'd almost want to have a crystal ball and know exactly when the other boys are going to pit.
Well, they're going to pit by around about, what did we say, about lap 10?
Lap 10, yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know that they're all going to be down then, but you are as well, so it doesn't really help you a whole lot.
Oh.
There goes Hobbo with the useless information of the day. But the race is on at the front. Jeff does not look like he wants to sit back here in second. He wants to get to the lead and make a move and see if he can't gap Jack, I think, is the plan here. I'd love to know what the situation was at the end of race 1 for incident points and off track. So I still think Jack might have a bigger picture in mind here, but we'll see.
Meanwhile, so Loshy's pitted early again this race. Interesting.
Yeah, interesting strategy. Got it out of the way quickly. It was a short stop. He did take the long stop in that first race. He's jumped right up. First car at the moment on track that's made a stop.
So, yeah, that's... what was his actual... It looks like Moz has done the same. So, yeah, Loshy a 45.4. Moz identical. Kyle Ridley a 46.2. Glenn Boyd a 105.5. So, obviously, that's the tyres. Has put Glenn... It looks like... In the meantime, Jeff has jumped to the front now.
He's put the move on. Jack seems pretty keen to join him.
Oh,
exciting.
Sam's going to give them room. No, he's going to fight back. Oh!
Jack's going to get the job done there. You can hold side by side through the first chicane there like Sam attempted to do, but now he's vulnerable to Trent Lavis as well, who's right on his bumper, heading down into the left-hander. Awkward spot to try and pass down here, and wisely backs out of it in single file this time around. He'll be trying to get the run and get the move down the inside here at Tosa.
Oh.
That's Tosa, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
That's always scary. Nice move, gets the job done. So Sam got bullied out of P1 there. He's dropped all the way back to 4th in the space of about half a lap. So.
I can confirm that Lee Harrison is no longer on a 0x
no.
double. He got very sideways as we were watching Trent get the move done on Sam. Lee was
It
sideways.
It was the fastest car on the last lap. However, it didn't register as the best lap in the session. So I have my doubts about the last lap's cleanliness as well. Lee's on a tear. He doesn't care anymore.
No.
He's after positions and positions only. Trent's got the blinks happening here. He's
that's always
everyone around him.
That's always unsettling, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
Looks like he's got the brake lights on as well.
I did wonder about that. I looked a little bit like it might have been flashing the brakes down the straight there. So I can't remember. It's been a while since I last spoke to Trent. Can't remember what hardware he runs. Got a lot of the if that is brake lights on the straights. It's got a lot of the G27 hot cleaning required situation happening.
Meanwhile,
seeing that people blinking.
We've got another crasher. This is Graham Ellis this time, and who's that be? Oh, wow!
Down at Aqua Minerale again.
Yeah, that was a bit crude on the behalf of. I think it looked like that was Ray Harrison there.
They might have had some assistance on that one, and lucky not to spit himself back out right onto the racing line there and end up with a big crash. So
yeah,
survives to fight on, but a little bit unfortunate that one, I think. This race is fantastic here towards the front of the field. Yeah. Jack sort of languishing a little bit behind, over a 2.5 second lead to Jeff Connell in front. Jack just doing his best to stay in second and looks like have a clean race. He doesn't look as fast as Jeff at the minute. And then behind him, just a bunch of angry cars waiting for the pit stops to cycle.
We put up the track map and it's angry all over the track. There's not very many clear spots on this track tonight. I think what you said earlier is coming to fruition here. The boys are taking up a lot of territory.
I will say that it seems to me like they've behaved themselves pretty well here in the second race, considering they were quite scrambled on the starting grid, like you said. Hasn't been too much chaos, but yeah, cars quite literally everywhere on the track at the minute, and battles to be had all throughout the field.
So just looking at our fastest lap times so far, there's still a bit of a gap. The Group B boys are 151.4. Group C are in the 153s.
Yeah, which is what you'd expect. That's about right. As Lee Harrison ducks down the lane this time, he's decided enough's enough. I'm keen to see where he pops out in relation to Wayne Losh, who still leads the way at the moment for those that have pitted. So time will soon tell. Fast leader on track at the minute for Group C is Quan Dang, and we talked about him in that last race.
Sorry, I was just watching Jack. Trent managed to get by on Jack, and then I think with the blinking, it's costing the boys a bit of time. Jeff's getting away while these guys are battling, and it's very hard, I think, to know exactly where Trent is on track, which seems to be sort of having a bit of an effect on Jack's.
It is very unsettling to be racing against someone who's blinking like we're seeing right now. It's very, very difficult to judge where you need to be and obviously where they are on track. So it's hard to get a move done when you're racing around people like that. And at the minute, you are right, they are hemorrhaging time to Jeff Connell at the minute, who's now out to nearly 3.5 second lead. And these guys still haven't sorted themselves out. Sam Muir might fancy a bit of a move on Jack Boyd. It's not every day you get to put a pass on Jack, so take him when you get him, although he does back out of it, which is probably smart right here. These guys can't afford to lose too much time, so yeah, we'll see how these guys sort it out, but Trent seems to be the cork in the bottle at the minute for these guys at the front, and
yeah, Jeff
at the moment, Jeff Connell's on a tear. He just set the fast lap of the race last time around with a 150.5, so that's getting down there with the best that we saw in the last race as well. And he is the only car in the field right now in the 150s, so he is absolutely hauling. As Jack goes, enough's enough. He goes straight to the pits.
yeah, Jack is.
Sam Miller stays out. But
Neville
Jack
Mell
has had enough, and Neville Mell's followed him in. And a pretty smart decision, I would say, because they were losing a lot of time, and they were looking to undercut Trent here on the pit cycle. Sam's in a bit of an awkward spot. He has to press on and try and do the best he can because he's the one who has to make the longer pit stop here in race number 2, along with Glenn Boyd. we have a look down to see where he's cycled through, he is down in P26 at the minute.
So in the meantime, where's so Mick Polly is currently 5th outright still.
Yeah, he's still leading the way for Class B. However, we do know that he's one of those drivers that has to make a longer stop here in race number 2 as well. So he's on that strategy where you go as long as you can here at the start and try and hope that the traffic is
So
back out in some clean air, but he's got it all to do. We also saw Logsdale, Bartouche as well. They were also guys who took shorter pit stops in the first race.
So. Yes, so they'll. I'm not sure what Jesse did in race 1. Jesse Carrick, he's found himself up into 3rd at the moment.
Yeah, my timing tells me that he's one of those guys who did the long stop 4 tyres in the first race. So
he's
looks to me like he's in a good position right here.
Yeah.
Might cycle his way to the front. Could be the leading contender for Group B once it all cycles. Based on that.
Yeah, he's only
Depends on the guys that have already made their stop. He's got Gogol's the first car on track at the minute who has made a pit stop, although he's just lost a spot right there to Damien Seeger.
So
Position. And Ant Connors is P2 of those that have made their stops already for Class B. So we'll have to see where they all cycle out. But Jesse White Carrick at the minute looks good for me. Good chance at a win in race number 2 for Class B.
So back up.
Ash Stacey, Andrew Roberts, and Philip Paradiso yet to make their stops in Group C. So we'll have to see how those guys cycle back around. Or we did sort of hypothesise that Quan Dang might be the guy to beat here in race number 2 for the Group C boys as well. And he currently leads the way of those that are pitted for Group C. So a bit to play out yet still, but it's starting to shape up with only around about 10 cars yet to come down the lane.
So yeah, it doesn't. Oh, we've got a few boys of. So it looks like Ash Stacey is about the only one that hasn't pitted yet in Group C.
Yeah, that looks right to me.
Most of the other boys have done their stops now, so.
Jack Boyd cycled out of the pits. Lee Harrison right in front of him. So Lee's made a good job there with his earlier pit stop. He didn't get held up in all of that mess that we saw Jack involved in, sort of stuck up there behind Trent Lavis. So Lee's managed to jump a couple of cars in his pit cycle as Jack does his routine.
Yeah.
So that's been a good move by Lee. He's gained a couple of spots in all that. We see Trent also cycling through the lane, and he's coming out behind these two. So Jack with the undercut there has worked on Trent.
Interesting.
Now we wait for Jeff, who's in the pits right now, along with Sam Muir. It's around about that time, end of lap 8.
So just looking at the pit stop times, Jack was a second quicker than Lee.
He was, but we saw him get held up so much there.
Yeah.
He pitted out of the group, and then Jack got held up so much behind Trent while he was blinking, and they were side by side. So goes to show how much time you lose when you race each other on the track. And Lee was able to get the job done. Obviously, a bit of clean air for him and some good lap speed. He's managed to get jumped all the way up in front. The one to watch, though, is going to be Jeff.
He's at pit exit now.
He's at pit exit at the minute. And I think you're going to see him come out a few seconds up the road from these guys.
So he's done a 45.3 for his pit stop.
He's come out in the lead of the race, which is about what we probably would have expected.
With about a 5-second gap. So
Lee Harrison's the one who's impressed me in this. He's played the right strategy. We saw him getting aggressive. He was sideways all over the place, burning through his off tracks like they didn't matter, but it's paid off for him anyway. He's looking like he might get himself a podium finish in race number 2.
Well, we hope that it pays off, because obviously the more off tracks you get, the less championship points you get. So
well, you'll get all the glory for a few minutes anyway until the stewards add up the penalty points.
Exactly. Oh, that's Glenn Hill slowing in front, but
he's almost had rejoin of the century right there. He's scared Jeff just about half to death as they came out of Toast.
Oh, Jack's looking to try and get through. Looks like Jack's made it safely. Can Trent get through as well? It looks like
Through, yeah.
they're all through. Oh, we've got a
Greg's
few.
in a bit of a lap.
Got a few more crashes. It looks like this is PJ Whiteman, one of our Group C boys. Can't see. Oh, he's pulled over to. That's weird. Looked like he may have cooked the car.
Yeah, that's no good. It's not what you want. I'm not quite sure what's happened with all that. While that's happening, though, I just want to redirect your attention because a little bit further back up the field, Glenn Boyd, Sam Muir. We saw them racing for the lead in the first race and the outright win there for honours. They are on top of each other at the moment, racing for position. However, we talked about how much would it hurt them to have to make that long pit stop here in race number 2. They're currently fighting for P13 on track after all the pit stops are cycled. So
Yep,
that's the difference where the strategy really hurts you when you go off strategy to most of the rest of the field. So they got all the glory in race 1, but now they're marred back in traffic. And it's all happening here as Kai Ridley is looking interested.
I
don't care if you won the first race. I'm still going to challenge you for P14 here in this one. Great to see Kai having a good run in this race. The Beamer.
Yeah, Kyle's
less represented cars.
Kyle had a good race last week. He grabbed the podium last week, so that was Glenn Hill off to the side.
He's not having a crash for one corner, he's having a crash for one lap at the minute. Poor Glenn is had a rough go of it there.
Hang on. I wonder. I'm going to have a quick look at this.
Watch with interest.
This is Lee.
Oh, Lee's too wide there. He's caught the grass. That's a slowdown out there, so that's going to cost him big time. At least he kept it pointing forwards, but that's a significant time penalty for that, getting out there. By the time to clear the slowdown. So it's on again now. It's right there. Lee Harrison, Jack Boyd. A couple of old foes. It's shaping up to be a good race for these guys in the back steps of the podium. Don't get out Trent Davis as well. He's sitting right behind these guys.
Oh, there he is.
There he is, right on cue.
Don't blink or you'll miss him.
Yeah, that's right. Jack will be having all kinds of bad memories about this because he's looking like he's under pressure down here down the main straight. And that's close. Leaves just enough room.
Whoa.
Now, does Jack try and hang it around the outside? It's possible, but he decides no, and especially because he disappears. Definitely not a good idea to go side by side with the ghost car.
No, definitely not.
He's going to have to do it all again. We saw this before. He got stuck behind Trent for, a full lap. It's so frustrating when you're stuck driving with someone who's having problems like this. I mean, Jack's no stranger to it. We've had that problem racing against him in the past because he tends to blink a lot as well. So, I don't know. We'll see how this one plays out, but there could be an interesting race to the finish for third place there. Lee's loving it because Lee's now able to recover from that little moment that he had a minute ago and start to pull away again. So that's great for him.
This is Neville and Neville Merrill and Henry Fenson currently in 5th and 6th.
A great drive as well for these two guys too. Stayed out of trouble for the most part and put in some good laps, get good results.
I suspect these three are probably driving for points. That's Loshi, Damo and Moz.
Yeah, just trying to do their thing, accumulate points and try and not get the off tracks, get the bonus points if you can, that sort of stuff. They do add up. That is a great way to race. You don't have to win these series. Like, you don't have to even win all the races. You just need to be clean and consistent. And these guys are all at locked-in battle in the championship as well, so they'll be trying to do the best they can to just accumulate as many points as possible. That track map just looks like a bad day, because that's a great move down the inside there.
That's Moz. Moz has obviously told Damo, you're too slow. Get out of the way. And Damo's obliged. Looks like Moz is off after Loshi.
Yep. A couple of old combatants, these two.
Oh, yeah. They've done quite a few practice laps together, these boys. They certainly know how each other race, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, can't say much about Jeff Connell and his consistency here. He's just done a 50.591. His fastest lap is a 50.504. So in clean air at the front, he's just gone into metronome spec and knocking out lap time after lap time with no pressure. He's got that gap out to 7.5 seconds to lead P2. Great drive. He's played the right strategies.
He has.
Job done.
So,
Poor Jack still stuck back in P4 and actually struggling for pace. So not sure whether or not he's gone into conservation mode and trying to stay with the zero incident race, or if he's struggling for pace, or perhaps he underfueled it. He's got a pretty short stop, 15.3 seconds, but then many of the others around him are also in that 15-second bracket. So not sure what's going on with Jack, but certainly not the punch that we're used to seeing from him tonight.
meanwhile, Jesse has now gone to the front of the Group B boys. He's got a...
We did talk about him being in a good spot, and look at that. He's well clear of P2 in class at the minute.
Yeah, so... it's a fair way back to Ant Connors.
7.5 seconds back to P2, so no pressure at all. He's sort of slipped under the radar there and pulled a bit of a masterstroke in this race. Here he is.
He has.
Right at the front. Great strategy and great drive. Which is what half the battle is. It's the strategy. We talked about it all night. Not sure how it's going to play out, but he's one of those ones who's made the most of it here in race 2.
Meanwhile, this is Quan Dang leading our Group C. And
representing the mighty Porsches and doing it well.
It looks like it's been a massive recovery from John Thorne.
He was in all sorts of trouble earlier,
yeah,
wasn't he? But
he's currently holding down second. He's got Matt Tesoriero right behind him for company, but he's done a great job to get it back up to second in class.
Saw John in the fence on the run to the finish line at the end of the last race, so put the bumper back on and zip
go again.
Back together, and off he goes again, and getting a good result here in race number 2. So that's nothing, like you said, a great recovery drive here in race number 2.
Oh! Having said that, that was Quan.
Almost got out the commentators. Almost got the commentators' curse out.
That was that was Quan that's gone a little bit wide there. Opened the door, let both John and Matt through. So they're now battling for Class C honours, and it looks like...
Oh, and it's all happening.
Looks like Matt's decided that he's keen. Oh! Great move. I don't think John's done with it yet, though.
It's all on right here. Battle for the ages for outright honours in Class C here for race number 2. We saw Aaron Maguire was the one who led him home in race number 1, and again, the strategy, the way it plays out, having to take that long stop in race 2, he's all the way back in 8th here in race number 2. So it hasn't worked out that well for those guys that did go on their short stop in the first race, but either way, it's a great battle up here at the front.
Meanwhile, just as we cut back to Jeff, he's run a bit wide there, but he's got a fairly good gap with a couple of laps to go, so...
he's just done a 150.460 on the last lap to set the quickest lap of the race, so he's not letting up any. And we saw this in the first race as well, to the bitter end. He was setting purple sectors and fastest laps, so he's out to make a statement, no doubt, tonight. Come and catch me.
He's doing a great
Only
job.
A few weeks ago, this man was in Class C, if I remember correctly. So
well, yeah, it's funny. When Jeff reached out to join the league, he said to me he hadn't raced for 7 months, and I had known Jeff when he was actually racing in a GT3 league on a Thursday night, and I was sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's like, well, okay, how much do you lose in 7 months? But very
apparently not much.
Not much. He's really come out with a vengeance.
Certainly has, and like you said, very good GT3 driver. I've seen him be very successful in those cars, and here he is, showing that GT4 is no different. Great drive so far tonight, and it's on here for P2.
Yeah, Trent Laves. Wow.
Up to P2. So what a drive. He's somehow managed to get the wood on Lee. Lee's done something.
Yeah,
I didn't catch it. I'm going to have a look and see if I can find it, but
yeah,
I'm not sure what he did.
So I've got a Lee went off track a little while back. I might have a quick look and just see if that's oh no, that didn't like that. Let's go back live. whatever
Yeah,
Lee did, he sabotaged my replays.
Well, I'm not quite sure. I think Trent just sort of drove up to the back of him. We saw him get past Jack, and he must have good speed. Drove up to the back of him, and it looks like Lee, if anything, might have got a slowdown at the chicane before toast a hairpin, and just ended up running wide down there to maybe just sort of let Trent go, so clearing his slowdown, or just letting him move through. But either way, he's got to do it the hard way now and get back past if he can. And Trent Lavis has been very, very fast here in this race. So here he is back up to P2. It's a great drive.
He's Trent's another one that I was sort of a little bit unsure about. I noticed that a couple of Trent's mates have also applied to join the league, so we may have a few more next
Had
round.
lots of good races with Trent Lavis before. A very good driver in like stock cars on road courses. So I haven't spent many races with him in a GT4 car, probably largely due to the fact that I don't spend much time in GT4 cars. But apparently he can drive them pretty well, because here he is at the front. I mean, he finished in I want to say P6 in race number 1. So back that up with a P2 right here, and he's right there on the points. So
yeah,
great night at the office for Trent. Jeff, without a doubt, is going to be the one to scoop up the maximum points so far, or obviously depending on incidents. But Trent's going to be right there competing with Jack for P2 outright. I'm not sure how that will work out. I think that at the moment, the way it stands is Trent was right behind Jack in race 1, and he's got a gap on him here with Lee in between them in race 2. So I'd say it's probably Jeff, and then Trent, and then Jack.
Then Jack, yeah.
Outright points for the round. So been a great drive by Trent to get up there. He sort of snuck his way in, and probably a little bit of a quiet achiever, if anything.
Yeah, so Trent, Jeff, and Kyle grabbed the podium last round at Daytona, so it's not surprising that that they've backed it up again this week, but it certainly sends a bit of a message to the rest of the field, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, and namely to Jack Boyd, who we see win and podium nearly every time he hits the track in this league, and it's 2 weeks in a row that he's missed the mark. So definitely warning shots fired. I'm not sure what the championship points look like. I know Jack's super consistent, which is always be successful, but these guys are showing him that they've got the speed to run with him.
Yeah, I think Jack's lead in Group A is quite substantial, but having said that, he's had 2 rounds now where he hasn't got the chocolates. So, but again, when you tally up the points and you see 0 X's against his name, Jack knows how to grab the points even when he's not on the podium.
That's right. And so, we should point out Jeff Connell crossing the line. This is it. I didn't even realise the white flag was out.
Yeah,
but he's won it.
He's done it, and Trent will get home for second.
Hang on for P2. Yeah, great drive.
Lee gets home in third. Then young Jack.
Neville. A great drive for P5 as well, with Henry in P6.
Yeah. And then it's Damo.
Damo's got the wood on Moz.
Wow. I don't think I want to know. And then Loshi.
Yeah.
Loshi's, then it's Rod, Bina, Sam Muir. Still managed just outside the top 10. Jesse Carrig, a great drive, brings home the win in Group B. So the rest of the field make their way over the line.
And I have to say, I'm very impressed by the cleanliness of the racing, because it is a track that can be a little bit tricky to pass. But I didn't see too many incidents really tonight, especially with the jumbled up field the way it was. So
no,
all in all, everyone's done a nice job.
Matt Tesserero brings it home in Group C, which is a great effort.
Yeah, got the job done. We talked about Kwan was the one who looked like he was going to take the chocolates, but made that mistake and never recovered. So Matt gets the job done in Group C in race number 2. So excellent drive.
Well, that was...
John with a great recovery to P2 as well, after we talked about that drama that he had in race 1. Ends up on the podium here in race number 2 with a great P2 finish.
That was certainly very hectic, wasn't it?
Absolutely was. Which is what we like. It's what we get with 50-car grids and great cars to drive.
It certainly is.
Good race.
Sounds like the boys are out there letting off some steam. A few burnouts.
Not sure what the discussion was about there, but either way.
Oh.
Good night of racing, all things considered.
Sounds like we've got a few boys have dropped in. Do you want to do the honours tonight, Hobbo?
Yeah, absolutely. You can feed me who's here if you like, because I can't see. So.
Oh, okay. So well, we've got. Well, we start with Jesse, the winner of Group B. Jesse's jumped in, so yeah.
Oh, awesome. All right, good stuff. Jesse, congratulations, winner there in Group B, race number 2. How did you find the 2 races tonight in the format with the split pit stop strategy?
Yeah, thanks, Hobbo. Yeah, it wasn't too bad, mate. Good to see that we're mixing it up a little bit in the league. You know, getting the strategies all mixed up for everybody. Pretty straightforward for me this week. Pit early on race 1, get the tyres out of the way, get the fuel in, and hopefully we could do something in race 2. Luckily that paid off for me, and yeah, we come out with a win, luckily, so happy days.
Well, you kind of descended from the heavens a little bit for us, because we kind of weren't expecting you to drive all the way up into the lead there in race number 2. But when we look back at the results from race 1, it makes sense. You did take that early pit stop and got the clean air and drove a nice, smart race number 1 and put yourself in a great position in race number 2. How'd you find the traffic? The grid was a bit mixed up there at the start of race number 2. How was it with all the classes being combined together there for the start?
Yeah, Hobbo, that's definitely a good point to bring up. Pitting early sort of put me into a little bit of C-class traffic, which I guess not everybody's trained up to yield as quickly as what they could do. But, you know, I guess everybody suffers that penalty at some point along the track. So we just made do with it and, you know, put our head down and got through as quick as we could. And luckily it paid off for us tonight. So, yeah, pretty good, pretty happy about it.
Oh, as it should be, a great result and the win in race number 2. It's a good way to go. And lastly, I guess, anyone you want to say thanks to here for how your race went tonight?
Yeah, sure, Hobbo. Just a big shout out to the guys that put everything together here tonight. Everybody knows they are. A lot of work gets done on the back end, as you know, to put something like this together. So, you know, just pat on the back for everybody that gets in there week after week and puts those hours in that no one recognises or understands. So, yeah, congratulations to those guys for pulling off another successful week.
Well spoken, and congratulations again. Greg, who else have we got in here that I can talk to?
Okay, so in 3rd place we have got Lee. Lethal Lee.
Lee, you had an eventful night like always tonight. Congratulations on a P3 there in race number 2. How'd you feel it all went?
Firstly, what a surprise, Brenton Hobson on the microphone. That was something that was thrown on us right now when we've jumped into the broadcast. So it's good to have you back on board, if not in a car, at least behind the mic. But yeah, I had not a lot of pace in practice. I was kind of just hoping to roll around and collect some points, and yeah, then qualified in the top 10, which was nice. And yeah, took my tyre stop early in the first race, which was always the plan for me, and it seemed like most of the people did. But yeah, second race, I got to slow down with a couple of laps to go, which let Trent back in front. By that time, Jeff was gone. He was too good tonight.
Yeah, we noticed that you looked like you did get a slow down, had to let Trent pass. He was sort of catching you, and then you sort of moved over to let him through. So I hypothesised that might have been what happened. I mean, it's hard from the slowdown there. How did you go with off tracks tonight? We talked about them because they're pretty aggressive around here.
I didn't get a drive-through, so but I was bloody close in that last race. I had to sort of take the last lap nice and easy because I was on the borderline.
Yeah, we did notice a couple of times where you had the skates on the back wheels and sliding around and moving off the side of the track a bit. So wasn't quite sure how it all panned out. So Yeah, I was a little interested to know how you went there, but either way, good result. Be happy with the P3, particularly if you were maybe a little bit off the pace early in the night. So great drive, well done, stayed out of trouble and got yourself a good result. Congratulations. Anyone you want to say thanks to?
Yeah, the guys for putting on the league, Greg, Wloshy, Damo, Moz, everyone that's behind the scenes that puts in all the hard yards. Obviously, we don't get to race on a Monday night without them doing all the hard work. So big thanks to them. Big thanks to the sponsors of the league. Big thanks to ProKarts for giving me a sim to race on Monday nights. Big thanks to you for jumping on the microphone and helping Greg out. So he's not going to sit there all by himself. And yeah, big thanks to all the other drivers that jump in and make this league what it is. Again, you know, Imola, it's a pretty daunting track. So to end up having nearly 50 cars on the grid, I think it shows the level of this league where everyone's ready to pitch in and fight adversity face on.
All very well spoken, well said, and very true. It's not easy to get these leagues to run, so there's a lot of people behind the scenes that make things happen. So that's good. We'll let Lee go back to his wind tunnel or wherever it is that he's calling us in from. And who else have we got to talk to, Greg?
You got Trent in second place in Group A.
Trent, how's it going, Trent? How are you?
Good, mate. It's good to hear your voice, buddy. It's been a while.
It's been a while. It has. It's good to see you here having a run around in the GT4 Rumble. Fairly new to this league. You've been here for a few races now. How are you finding the league so far?
Yeah, just something a little bit different to what I'm used to. I like the format tonight. I thought that was a bit of fun, you know, trying to negotiate, you know, the traffic and all that sort of stuff. You know, the guys in the B and C group, they don't give it up easy because it is for position, which makes sense. So, but no, it was a lot of fun. They're coming through the pack, and yeah, a few very close calls towards the end of that second race there. Well, actually had a bit of a call coming out of the pits, which stuffed up my race a little bit. But besides that, it was going to be a good one, I think.
Oh, either way, it looked like you had amazing car speed tonight. You were very fast.
Yeah, I just did a bit of practice for once. That's pretty rare for me, as we all know. I did a couple of laps, so actually, yeah, in practice, I think I did 40 off track. So the fact that I didn't get a penalty through the race, I was absolutely stoked. Actually, the first race, I nearly had 0x. But I'm going to give props to young Jackie Boy to have that much speed to get 0x in both races. That was mega.
Well, we did wonder, didn't we, whether or not Jack might have been able to get the job done on that. And I did sort of have a bit of a theory that might have been his intention for the night. Jack does love a good zero incident challenge, and congratulations to him. If so, that he managed to get through a whole clean night. Very impressive. Very impressive, like you said, Trent. We aren't sure about the points. Obviously, things change too once we factor in incidents and that sort of stuff. But it looks like just on outright positions, you may have been P2, not only in this race, but for the night outright. So congratulations for that. And is there anyone that you wanted to say thanks to before we let you go?
Oh, thanks, man. It's good news. I didn't think I did that well, but that's always a positive to be up there on the step overall. Massive thanks to Greg and the boys that set up the servers and everything in the series. It's been fantastic so far. So looking forward to more races with you lads. And obviously the Aussie Racer Bay Letters boys and Lobsy Racing, as always. Boys always have my back, and always a great fun bunch of blokes to jimmy around and do a couple of circles. So yeah, thanks everybody, and thanks Hobbo for jumping in and calling tonight. I'm keen to watch you back.
Oh, don't be too keen, but my pleasure.
And Jeff,
thanks very much, Trent. And Jeff, congratulations. By far and away, I think the fastest driver here tonight. Certainly showed everyone else that they need to step up their game if they're going to keep up. Great drive. Congratulations on the win.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It was an awesome night. It was cool. Like, this series is always cool with the invert, and it was cool again tonight going into the races with the unknown of the tyre strategy. So I didn't really know what to do, but that worked out well for me to be able to run third in the first one. You know, even with copping that 22nd or so tyre change, it worked out well. And yeah, it was an awesome night. It was good fun passing a few guys in that first race and second race as well. Actually, it was yeah, it was awesome. Few scary moments where get a lap car sort of slow down on the straight, but then just park themselves on the inside of an apex. I don't know what they were thinking, but yeah, other than that, it was an awesome night. I loved it.
Well, I think that's sort of reflective of, and Greg, you'll probably agree, it's reflective of the series, how we run with such a wide scope of abilities and speeds of drivers and things like that, racecraft and race understanding and stuff like that. We do have Class A, B, and C all together on tracks. That's all part of the fun. Saw Glenn Hill have a bit of a moment, the exit at the Tosa hairpin, and just about take you out at one point tonight as well. So you certainly certainly had a little bit of luck go your way, but I always say the greatest strategy is great car pace, and you were certainly quick tonight. How do you think that the cars stack up? I'm interested to know from your perspective. The different cars, do you think that there's strengths and weaknesses? Like you were very fast tonight. Do you think that will carry across each week just based on driver pace, or has the cars got some assistance with that as well?
I'm not sure. Like, it was only 2 weeks ago was the first time I'd ever driven a GT4, so I'd have to go and drive every car to answer that. But yeah, I don't know. Like at Daytona, me and Trent were stuck together the whole race, and I think we were just so dead even on pace. I think it was a bit of luck and strategy worked the result out, but we were dead even on pace. So and tonight I'm not sure because I sort of was in a battle with him, but we weren't right next to each other on track. So yeah, hard to answer that, but it does seem from what I've seen so far, the cars seem fairly even, and then even at Daytona, the Beamer was really fast as well. So.
Let's put it down to driver skill. Let's put it down to that.
We'll go with that for now, but
might as well take me out of the equation then.
No, great job tonight. Congratulations again and again on positions for the night. Clearly a third and a first would be enough to put you in front outright before all the calculations go into play for off tracks and incidents and all the rest. So congratulations. Brilliant drive tonight. Anyone you want to say thanks to before we wrap things up?
No, it's just me here, not really part of a team or anything, just doing my own thing. But thanks to you guys for putting on a good show every week, and Greg and Damien and everyone that puts in the time and effort to run it. It takes so much time and effort. So yeah, it's pretty cool when nearly 50 of us can go out and have heaps of fun like that. So yeah, awesome series.
Very good. And I think that's everyone, right, Greg? That's everyone that's coming to chat tonight?
That's everyone, Hobbo. You did a fantastic job as always. Kudos to you for doing the interviews. I just want to add a big thanks to Hobbo for jumping in. We always love to see Hobbo out on track, but obviously second choice is to have him in the commentary with me. He brings a lot of the things that I can't. I struggle from time to time. I put it down to age with technology. So having Hobbo in the background is certainly a big help for me. And hopefully the stream was a big improvement tonight with Hobbo's assistance. So thanks again, Hobbo, for jumping in. To all the boys that managed to grab a podium or a 0X tonight, congratulations. This is probably the toughest track or one of the toughest tracks on iRacing. And finally, I just want a big shout out to Simrigs, who are our major sponsor this season. They're doing a fantastic job in the background. There's some really exciting things on the horizon. So hopefully everybody that's racing with us sticks with us. And if there's anybody out there that's looking to become a part of the league, just drop us a message either on Discord or via our Facebook page. We've got a little bit of room left. There's a few boys that have sort of started the season and dropped off, as always happens. But as you saw tonight, we're still running 40 plus cars. So if you want to be a part of it, jump in now, because I've got a feeling that we're just going to go from strength to strength with our sponsors and the help that we get from guys like Damien Seeger, Wayne Losh, Moz, Hobbo. I mean, without these guys, we certainly wouldn't have a league. So thanks to all you boys. And until next week, where it's round 6. And believe it or not, we are racing in Japan at Fuji. So we look forward to that. And we'll catch you all again next week. Thanks, guys.